Edu Gaspar has told Arsenal fans to be patient and you won't be disappointed. Apparently, there's updates where Merino, Kiwior, Osimhen and Bakayoko are concerned. Big up you lot for tuning in. As usual, people, deluded, I'm back again. Shout out to Arsenal because while I'm doing this video, we've just won 2-0 against Lyon in our final pre-season game ahead of the new Premier League season kicking off. Just a quick word on that. I think our pressing was good. It's obviously nice to score from set pieces. I think the second half was a bit more of an even game. I think we could have and should have fashioned more chances from open play and probably scored goals. I think our pressing was good if I didn't make that clear. Lovely to see Declan Rice get 2 assists, and our 2 centre-halves in Saliba and Gabriel show why we are probably the most feared side via set pieces. For more on that, check out my watch along or check out my reaction vid. Now, isolated to this video, Edu has spoken. Let me share my screen with you lot and we'll get straight into it. Edu apparently has said, be patient, you won't be disappointed in the end, people. Apparently, James Green, who I assume is working for Sky Sports, has said, I was speaking to a couple of Arsenal fans who were on the US tour and had the chance to speak to Edu. Edu said, with regards to transfers coming in, be patient, you won't be disappointed at the end. Now, we can only comment on what exactly he said. Naturally, some people are going to think stars are going to arrive. People are going to think every area is going to be addressed. I do think, Edu isn't going to say anything different. We do need to remember that the Euros and the Copa America and probably the market owing to strikers, there's a lot of factors as to why this summer, in terms of incomings, hasn't probably mimicked the last couple of years. But for me personally, I always say I'll definitely criticize day in, day out, but I will reserve reaching conclusions until the end of the window. I don't know what Edu is planning. I don't know what Arteta is planning. I don't know what calls he's doing. I don't know what I's are being dotted and T's are being crossed. What I do know is at this moment in time, I do believe in what we've done in the last 2 years has got us to a point. But I have to ask this question ahead of the new season, which, as I said earlier, is a week away from starting. Are we a stronger team? I think Calafiori is a good addition, but are we a stronger team? Are we closer to Manchester City? Do we have enough squad depth? Something going back to February, Arteta said we've got one of the smallest squads in the league. And you would have seen going into this game, Timber is expected to return back to the squad next week. And it was seen as a precautionary measure for him not to play in the Emirates Cup. And Fabio Vieira's got a hip knock. He does get injuries. And we've obviously got Tomiyasu knocked, where we're trying to aspire to win a Premier League season over a 38-game calendar, a Champions League, potentially go as far as we can, which the champs in the new format has 2 extra games, the FA Cup and the League Cup. Typically, we're going to have 2 games in a week, 3 games, every 10 days, and a lot of it's coming off the back of a long season anyways for this football club, and some of our players were participating in competitions. So I hope we can do stuff. Let's get the Moreno one sorted. I would love a striker and a winger or an inside forward. I do think we need one of the two. Definitely, if you can't get a striker, you have to get a wide man. So I do think Edu is right in reserving patience, but at the same time, I can't begrudge fans for being a bit nervous, especially because you shouldn't do it, but you're looking around what other clubs are doing. It seems like moves have been made. So yeah, Calafiori, Moreno, hopefully we get something else in. So yeah, I don't think Edu's wrong, but let me know your thoughts on that. Apparently the Osimhen saga continues. Arsenal are back in for the Napoli striker, who continues to insist that he will leave the Serie A club. Apparently the door is open for Arsenal to make a move, and Sky Sports Italia reported on Saturday that the Gunners are back in for the player, who remains of interest to Chelsea despite the Blues being set to land the Atletico Madrid striker. And that's obviously with the Saudi Arabian clubs being interested. As we know, Osimhen's days at Napoli on paper aren't numbered because he signed a new deal, but what we know, it is numbered. Really, he hasn't really participated in their matches and stuff, which begs the question. We could talk about the wages, the transfer fee, and whether it's it makes sense. But what sort of physical condition would he arrive at Arsenal, and how long would it take him to get it clicking? And we all know what would be the asking price of Osimhen. But whether it's Osimhen, Gyökeres, or an inside forward, I think we need attacking additions, man. I think we need to address central midfield, because as much as I believe in Partey and Jorginho, I think we had to overplay Jorginho last season. I think, unfortunately, where Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, Thomas Partey, and a few players, Gabriel Jesus, if I haven't made that clear, where them players there are concerned, I don't think anybody is going to be shocked if they hear at some point these players have picked up knocks, niggles, or injuries. So we need to get a move on, really and truly. Apparently, we're back in the race for Osimhen, as we said. Ivan Toney, for all the Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United, and so on and so forth links, it seems that Saudi Arabian clubs are looking at him, and that would probably kill his chances of getting called up to England, much less at the World Cup. I don't think Arsenal are keen on Ivan Toney. Apparently, Manchester United and Chelsea are looking at Evan Ferguson of Brighton, which surely we should get involved in that because we had been credited with an interest. And if he's available at 15, at 19 years of age for 50 million, surely that makes sense. But at this point, it's more or less the same old names. You would have seen in a previous video, I covered people. Apparently, Zubimendi's camp annoyed Arsenal. Apparently, we agreed a deal with Zubimendi's camp before Liverpool started talks. Apparently, go back as far as March. Apparently, we spoke to Zubimendi's representatives as early as March and reached a verbal agreement. During these discussions, Arsenal outlined the contract that Zubimendi agreed to in terms of a salary and contract length, and there was confidence that he would join. At the time, Arsenal were confident that they had laid the groundwork for a successful transfer to be completed, but Zubimendi seized all communication. Sources inform us that the club did not receive any follow-up from the players' camp, leaving them a frustrated club in the dark. Now, I think you could add him to the Locatelli, Vlahovic, Rafinha, and obviously Zubimendi camp in that. These are the players that have done Arsenal dirty, probably forget about it, and which we obviously, if we were scouting Zubimendi and obviously assessing Tierney's loan spell at Sociedad, and we was even linked with Ander Barenza, I can't say his name, but the Sociedad winger, we had to have been watching these players, so we know what Merino can bring to the table, which is disappointing in Zubimendi. You know, fair enough if Liverpool get him. He's been linked with Barca, Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United, and many other clubs. So yeah, where Zubimendi's concerned, forget about that. Apparently, Arsenal are set to hand Ethan Nwaneri a fresh deal. You would imagine the 17-year-old, the minute he turns 18, will sign a 5-year deal. As you know, at 17 years of age, you can only sign a max of 3 years. And I think, you know, with the minutes he's getting in the Emirates Cup and in the American Tour, Arsenal are probably doing all they can to show him that you keep working and developing, there's an opportunity here for you. You'd imagine Miles Lewis-Skelly, when he turns 18, signs improved deals as well. So it'd be nice to see that we're in discussions with Ethan. The man's the future of the club. We need to take time with him, let him develop. But for me, off the ball, forget on the ball. You can't forget because he's got all of that. You know, we need to take time, let him develop physically, let him get that consistency. Don't put too much pressure. But he's improving off the ball. He's starting to understand what Mikel Arteta wants. So big him up, people. We all know he's got a deal currently until 2026, which puts it about 2 years to 18 months. Apparently, sources have informed this web publication that talks have already begun regarding an extended and improved deal once he hits that milestone, potentially keeping him at the Emirates until 2030. We all know he made history in the Premier League when he made his debut at 15 years of age via Brentford, which is good, and it follows in what Edu has been doing with a number of our players and being very proactive in signing new deals. So yeah, man, just develop, do what you're doing. You'd imagine, I don't know for significant minutes, but you'd imagine that he would get his fair share of minutes when the time is right this season after a good showing in the preseason tour. Once again, people, big up Ainsley Maitland-Niles for returning to the Emirates. We finally got to see Calafiori. Apparently, Fabio Vieira was omitted from the squad with a slight hip issue, while Timber has sat out with a slight foot issue, which obviously robbed him of being involved in the last 2 games. Again, the ITK hand of Ozil, which I'm not sure on the name of that, but Timber is expected to rejoin the Arsenal squad early next week. The Arsenal medical team continue to take full precautions with Timber, but it's been reiterated to me it's nothing serious. Fair enough, and precaution is good. If there is a slight bit of doubt, we don't want any setbacks. And typically, when you do get a long-term injury like an ACL, there is little niggles and knocks. So hopefully he's involved in some capacity against Wolves. I don't expect him to start, same way with Calafiori. On the Marseille front, people, it seems like for Wahi and Mikoko, they were failing to bring them in, but Eddie Nketiah could be going there. Apparently, Marseille have sent a second offer to Arsenal for Nketiah. Wouldn't that be like the 4th or 5th bid technically? The striker is currently the priority for the Marseille side to strengthen their attack. The club are getting tired of waiting for Wahi as Lens continue to delay. Negotiations are underway for the Englishman, and he played no part in the Emirates Cup against Lyon, so maybe there's something imminent. Some reports say he's keen to take a wage cut and he's already agreed personal terms to get this move sorted. Kiwior, 1 minute it's Inter Milan, then it's AC, and then it's back to Juventus, people, who failed to bring in Todibo. And it seems like they have issues and concerns defensively, so it makes sense where Kiwior's concerned. Obviously, you'd link up with Thiago Motta. Apparently, they've returned to get information on Kiwior. Apparently, for the Gunners, Kiwior is only transferable either outright or on loan with a redemption obligation. Now, Google Translate hasn't been nice. Rightly so. Of course, there's a reality. He goes on loan with no buy option. He does well. We get more money next summer, or he's reintegrated into the squad. It does not make sense for him to leave without an obligation, which begs the question. We all know the Italian clubs are struggling financially. Juventus were outbidded by West Ham. So how far are they prepared to go to get Kiwior through the door. I don't mind Kiwior staying and being a body because we need a big squad. But for him, with Calafiori, Gabriel, Saliba, Timber, obviously a bunch of players, it doesn't seem like you're going to get significant minutes at the club. So we'll have to see on the Kiwior front. Reports in Spain are saying that Mikel Moreno's future should be resolved in the next few days. Arsenal are pushing hard to close a deal, while Sociedad have offered to make him one of their highest earners. There has been reports both Zubimendi and Moreno have been offered such. Johan Bakayoko, who twisted up Kiwior and was linked with Arsenal. Apparently he said, I'm not going for a mid-table Premier League team, which isn't us. I'll summarize it very briefly. I want to be able to become a champion, play the Champions League and play myself in the team. I mean, if you can't get the Nico Williams and the Pedro Netos and the quote-unquote household names, do you go for these kind of rawer talents like a Bakayoko? And then after that, we're not going to get Rashford, but, you know, with what Arteta's done over Havertz and players like that, people say we could get a tune out of Rashford, could get a tune out of Mudryk. I don't think we should go down that. I wouldn't be against bringing in Bakayoko. I don't think he's a ceiling raiser at this moment. I think he's got a lot of potential, and I think he's got the rawness and unpredictability to be a great player for our side. Well, obviously Arteta can uncoach bad habits and promote good habits. Whether we sign him is another thing. He's been linked with a bunch of clubs. Who knows, people? We've spoken about Osimhen already, and in truth, it's quite boring on that front. Pardon me, Eddie Nketiah is nearing an Arsenal exit, as we already know. So I don't think there is anything else to discuss on that front, people. But I always say, let me know your thoughts. Are you confident for this season? Do you think we have enough? Do you think we need more signings? If so, what positions? What do you feel on the news we've gone over? Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Check out the second channel. Most importantly, one love for listening. Peace.